also, one of the first questions I'll ask all my clients, and hopefully the folks in your audience, can resonate or consider this. When was the last time you took a vacation? But what's the end plan, right? What's the end game? At the end of the day, your business is going to die. How do you want it to die? Do you want to pass it on and extend the life of it? Do you want it to die when you pass on? So we start with an exit planning mindset and a life mindset. Like, are you living the life that you want to live? Do you get to sleep 12 hours out the day? And a lot of people don't. So we have to build those processes so that the business can live on without them. So I could probably keep talking on, but those are the questions to start. And if you're a business owner and you cannot answer, in a way that you're happy with, then working with groups like you all's, they're at the MJW group, working with groups like mine, that's why we exist. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm. You're speaking our language.
Welcome to the Analytical Rewired, the best place to discuss various obstacles, limitations, challenges, behaviors, and how to overcome them in business. We deep dive into the complexities of people, processes, data, and technology, PPDT, adopting our focus to be either technical or creative expressions, and how to balance the two. The Analytical Rewired is brought to you by the MJW Group, a performance improvement and leadership development boutique management consulting firm that helps companies save time and money leveraging operational excellence. Our mission is to enable your organization to be more successful by refining overarching strategies into detailed plans to be implemented, generate creative and technical solutions for your operational challenges, augment and supplement your existing teams, and help you create processes that allow you to be more efficient with the resources you have. You can learn more about the MJW Group on our website at themjwgrp.com. Welcome to the Analytical Rewired. I am your host, Jennifer White, CEO of the MJW Group, and I have my co-host with me, Sarah Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Spring is coming. The pollen is
springing.
Disruptive here, and just making it day by day.
I've sneezed several times today.
Yeah, I'm on this serious Claritin tip lately, but we're making it through. We're excited for today's guest. His name is Jarvis Gray, and he's here to talk about small business growth strategies. So I'm excited to hear another perspective. Being a small business owner is not easy by any means. I don't know why everybody thinks that it is. Somebody lied. Because it's not what I expected when I went off on my own. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what he has to say on this topic. So Jarvis, welcome to the Analytical Rewired.
All right, Jennifer, thank you so much. Sarah, thank you. I'm very honored to be here sharing the stage, the platform with the two of you.
Awesome. So here on our podcast, the Analytical Rewired, we get into the creative, right brain and your technical and logical left brain, and what makes people do the things that they do. Sometimes you may not even think like you're utilizing your whole brain, right? Just to make things work, just to make things flow. And we love to get into this topic because you really don't realize all the changes that you are going through as a person, the behaviors as well, especially when running a business. And there's a lot of ebbs and flows. There's a lot of come to Jesus talks. There's a lot of in the closet, in fetal position, crying by yourself. And, and sometimes it may even feel like you have nobody to talk to, right? So that's one thing we wanted to do on this podcast, is just have a safe space where people can talk about these challenges and obstacles and how they've overcome them, right? Because we all can do things differently. There's many ways to grow companies. There's many ways to think outside of the box. So that's why we're here today. And we're glad you're here with us too.
No, thank you. Well, Jennifer, if you believe everything you see on Facebook, we're all millionaires and we all take pictures with Lamborghinis and, we just have the laptop lifestyle, living on the beach, doing the work that we do. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about. We don't need people to talk to and shoulders to cry on. We don't need none of that. That's for the unsuccessful business owners. That, those successful ones of us, right? No, thank you. Those are all the myths that I constantly work to debunk, especially with my small business clients. I've yet to meet that entrepreneur. So
yeah, exactly. So Jarvis, why don't you kick us off with telling us more about yourself, your background, and how you got here today?
All right. So again, Jarvis Gray, and again, I'm honored to be sharing, part of your platform here. In my work, I support my small business clients as a business growth strategist. So for any small business that I work with, right out the gate, I'm looking to find them a minimum of $50,000 to $100,000 of top line revenue. And I do that with an assessment process that I take them through. So I can do it in 45 minutes or less guaranteed without them having strategies to, invest more or spend more for marketing and advertising. So that's the core of the work that I do. I got down this path, Jennifer, similar to you. I am an industrial engineer and came out of school at the University of Miami, went into power for the first 4 or so years. There you go. It was a good time back when we used to say we were the best team in the state, but UCF has been dominating Florida football for a few years now. So so all respects to UCF as well. But yeah, I came out of school, went into the power industry for the first couple of years of my career. So really built up, my background from the technical side. I can't remember if that's the left or the right side of my brain, but the left, there you go. I did that for a few years until I got into healthcare. Got into healthcare completely on accident and fell in love with it. So for about 15 years doing strategy, process improvement, project management types of work and positions, really excelled really quickly, found myself interviewing for C-level positions by the time I was 35. And the path that I took to get there, I was pretty much done with healthcare. So it was about that time at 35 where I was like, I think I can do this for myself. And so then I started my business, the Quality Coaching Company, initially with a focus for healthcare consulting, doing everything that I did, as a part of my full-time job, just doing it for clients at my own rhythm. But then when the pandemic kicked in and healthcare naturally pulled back from a lot of their work so they can serve throughout the pandemic, that's how I started getting into the small business market, naturally assuming that small business owners had access to people like me doing strategy and operational development work. And to the nod of your head, I learned otherwise. So again, I pivoted right there. Excuse me. Pivoted right there on the spot. And I've been working with small business owners ever since. Now, a number of my clients are still healthcare based, but I'm working with a young group of entrepreneurs starting a data center right here in Atlanta now. I have a client that owns a pest control company. So, the ability now to connect with small business owners across a broad spectrum, it's been very, again, an honored type of a role to serve a lot of people and to see what makes small business owners across the board. People who are looking to make an impact on their communities, people who are trying to build their own legacies in a lot of ways. So it really is a blessing to just be able to support people who are trying to do a lot of good for their communities and their families.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I love that. And of course, you talked about the loop-de-loop of how you got here. And it's interesting that you said small business owners don't have access to people like us. Like, I didn't know that either, because I guess when you're in corporate, like, and sometimes it's hard for me to relate this to my team now. Like, you have somebody that does all these things.
Right.
right? They're just readily available, and you know who to go to for XYZ. When you're a small business, you have to wear multiple hats
Yeah.
all day, every day to get anything done. And it's hard sometimes when you don't have structure. So actually in our company, the MJW group, we spend a lot of time on structure and formality just so people can have some type of organization. But you're right, in a lot of smaller companies, that process improve, what is that? Like, people don't even know these terms. So how did you initially get over that hump of articulating what these things mean to small business owners?
I will say for me, especially being an engineer, we learn all of the technical ways to do things and to describe things. One of the things that made me successful in my career path working in healthcare was being able to translate all the technical stuff into, language and into concepts that, frontline staff members, nurses and doctors can get, because, a nurse and a doctor, they are the best nurses and doctors, but they're not the best process improvement people, right? So I had years of learning how to do that just from my corporate career. So then when I'm working with a small business owner, I spent maybe about an hour or so yesterday working with a client, showing her how to map out her sales process, right? It's like, you're a business owner, you want to make sales. Well, they literally have things called a sales process. But if you don't know how to visually depict what that process looks like, you're going to toil through a lot of iterations to figure it out. So now, just again, coming from that background and learning how to translate these technical things into everyday language. I was fortunate. I wish I could say there was something that kind of got me there, but I was just in a career path where I had to do it. So it's been a very natural transition with the work that I do now in my business for my clients. But if you could see like my bookshelf behind me, it is loaded with all of my technical stuff. I'm a true geek about my profession, but I know it doesn't work unless I can translate it into concepts, into language, that a small business owner who's probably never seen it, or they've heard about it, but nobody's ever just kind of held their hand and walked them through it and let them know it's actually really easy. I tell all my clients, sticky notes, this is one of your most powerful tools, right? So it's just simplifying complicated things, but we complicate things very well as engineers. So now we have to unwind it, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of small business owners too, whenever they're, coming up with the idea or they're trying to put pen to paper, they have the whole idea of what they want to do and where they want to be, but they don't have that roadmap of how to get there. Or they attempt to do so and they fail miserably because they don't understand the processes or the efforts that go into creating SOPs. I've worked in several small businesses. I've had my own small business, and lack of SOPs are absolutely that's like one of the main things, I think. I had a meeting with someone earlier who has zero SOPs for their nonprofit, and she's like, I can't ever take a vacation. And so I think, like I said, I just think the idea for small business owners are always there and they know where they want to be. They just don't know how to get there.
No, and that's spot on. And that's essentially the role that I play, Sarah, is trying to help them close that gap. With my background is so diverse from all of the corporate positions that I held. If I find a client, and I try to approach it, I can meet any of my clients where they are on their journey. If I find they need analytic support, I simplify it and we put those in place. Talking about strategies for small business growth that don't require them to spend more money on marketing or advertising. So one of my top strategies are joint venture partnerships. So I will literally ask them, hey, tell me, what kind of joint venture relationships do you have? And if they say, oh, well, I've been thinking about it, to your point, I think I want to I've been, they go down that tunnel. Hey, don't worry about it. What are 3 things your customers do or buy before, during, and after the time they work with you? Right? Simplify the thought. And they can easily spit out that, those topics. okay, well, hey, these start to represent the businesses or the products that we need to build relationships with. And so, again, just simplifying it and then locking it into place. To your point, SOPs. I can't think of one of my clients that may have had an SOP in place before I got to them. But that's the key. To your point, also, one of the first questions I'll ask all my clients, and hopefully the folks in your audience, can resonate or consider this. When was the last time you took a vacation? But what's the end plan, right? What's the end game? At the end of the day, your business is going to die. How do you want it to die? Do you want to pass it on and, extend the life of it? Do you want it to die when you pass on? So we start with an exit planning mindset and a life mindset. Like, are you living the life that you want to live? Do you get to sleep 12 hours out the day? And a lot of people don't. So we have to build those processes so that the business can live on without them. So I could probably keep talking on, but those are the questions to start. And if you're a business owner and you cannot answer, in a way that you're happy with, then working with groups like you all's, they're at the MJW group, working with groups like mine, that's why we exist. This is what we do.
You're speaking our language.
Model is PPDT, people, processes, data, and technology, in that order. Expect an authentic change and pace, because really when we get to the end, if we're, looking at a new software, a lot of times we get that, oh, I just need a new software. Why do you think you need a new software? Because it's going to do X, Y, Z. Okay, how are you going to implement it? I don't know. Technology takes a lot to maintain. So I would steer anybody away from doing that if you don't have the bandwidth to maintain it, because it's a lot. Once you start filling it up with data, that data starts having a life on its own, i.e. AI now, and it starts to just do things. And if you can't explain why your data is doing what it's doing, it's garbage in, garbage out situation. So Jarvis is saying the same thing with, keeping the end in mind, right? When you re-engineer a process, what is the point of it? Like, why are we doing this? Why? And then you work your way backwards, And then again, on the strategy part, I always say, Sarah's probably tired of me saying this, set up the play. Let's set up the play before we execute the play. Like, can we just set up the play? Like, let's just discuss what this play is before we go out there and try to get a touchdown, right, or get a first down, just small steps. We don't have to eat the whole elephant, just small little changes. And then after a while, you notice, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even realize I've graduated. I've gone on to college now. Look at us.
Well, as a former college football player, trust me, so many of my analogies are football, and I'm sure my clients get tired of them. So
that's all I hear from Jennifer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel at home. I'm amongst my people right now.
I feel like at this point I should be an expert at football. I already watched it a lot of my own, but now I come to work too, so we just kind of keep learning the lessons.
I'm telling you, it's so appropriate though. But yeah, I mean, I very much coach on very similar. It's the small incremental changes. I have a concept around the 80-20 rule for business that I share with my clients, that 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your work. So now let's figure out what's the 20 that will drive the 80. So I try to simplify, and then when you simplify, that's when that real acceleration starts to kick in.
It's interesting how Pareto works on every concept of life.
Everything.
It has never failed me yet. So Jarvis, you mentioned about marketing and advertising. Now, even though Sarah does a lot of this work for the MJW group, I have a love-hate relationship with marketing and advertising. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay.
It gets underneath my skin. I don't know. I guess because it's a non-tangible, for a certain extent, very similar to the work that we do. Sometimes you don't tangibly see it right away, right? The return on investment comes a little bit later, but
I don't know. Marketing just gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I've just seen a lot of
I think
failed
that's the technical
launches
side
and
of you,
things.
Jennifer.
With marketing,
Marketing is just a play on sociology and understanding why people
Yeah, I was
do.
gonna say now, Jennifer, what if I told you every time you opened your mouth, you were marketing?
Oh, I know that now as the business owner.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the face, I'm the brand. Like, I know that.
All right.
That now.
Yeah, so for all my clients, again, the mindset that I try to leave them with is that, from the time you get in your car in your morning to go to, your office or go to, your brick and mortar shop, you're on. So you're marketing as soon as you pull out your driveway until the time you pull back in. Because I mean, it is so bad nowadays. You can go to, the local grocery store and see potential clients. I one of my past clients is an ice cream shop owner, and she became a client because I took my son for ice cream, and we just got into a conversation. Now she's a client. So you're always marketing now. Maybe to your thought though, when you're doing formal marketing through, social media or publications, whatever the case is. What I tell my clients, what I instill in my clients is this mindset of a market dominating position. So I don't believe in competing with other companies. So can we craft a message about your business that completely separates you from everyone else? And I always used the Domino's pizza as an example. Domino's back in the day said, if you want a hot fresh pizza, 30 minutes or less, or it's free. That was a market dominating position. They didn't say we're better than Pizza Hut or Papa John's or whoever. They just said, hey, we got hot fresh pizzas. We can get them to you fast. We can get them to you cheap. And if we can't, we'll give it to you for free. That's a differentiator, right? Overnight, they're $1 billion company. Every single business needs to follow Domino's lead. And so that's one of the things I teach. So now when you do market on social media or, your local newspapers, you should be saying something so unique that, your potential clients who see it should say, how do you do that? Or can you do that for me? Like those are the responses. So yes, ma'am, if your responses aren't getting that reply, that's probably why you feel the way you were feeling.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal for marketing too is to just be like, oh, I saw this post by the MJW group. Let me tell you what it said. And it was, useful and it was purposeful. And I understood what they had to say and they helped me with this, this, and this. So it's eventually, that market dominating message, if you will, so that eventually the MJW group, but Jennifer has a little voice in the back of my head. So now I just need to figure out how to do that for the MJW group with other people. So it's always the MJW group in the back of people's head.
Yeah, no, but I mean that is the number one when I'm talking with a lot of small business owners, whether I'm just networking or legit prospecting, that is the number one concern. And their feelings are very similar to how you just shared, Jennifer. They're like marketing or not even marketing, I'll say lead generation, right? Because that's really what we're talking about. But yeah, it's simplifying the message, differentiating your message, the room full of lawyers and everybody's, hey, I'm a lawyer, or hey, I'm the guy that helps all of my clients reduce their fines by, whatever. Like you can come up with a different message and it costs you nothing, but it does take a little time to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. With our industry, I guess I'll ask this question. How have you seen it shift throughout the years? I mean, you've been around for a while. Even on the marketing side, we didn't have social media. Like I'm visiting my parents this week in Clearwater, Florida, and where I'm sitting now is the office, and I remember we got our first, like I literally had deja vu the other day. I was like, I remember in 1996 we got our first computer, and it was the family's computer, right? And then I think MySpace was coming around that time. I had a Yahoo email. There was Hotmail back then, but things were so different than how they are now. Like how quickly we can connect with people and reach out to people. And remember the chat rooms, because I think MySpace did they have chat rooms? I don't know. Maybe so, but there was chat rooms everywhere. And if you got in the chat room, it was like the biggest thing. But yeah, just from that aspect, things have evolved so much. And I'm glad you talked about newspapers, because I was thinking in my head, yeah, some people are like, what's that? Like, they're just online now. Some of them, or they're
Now,
so expensive to print, right? A newspaper now is like $3 or sometimes $4 just to get your hands on one on Sundays. But things have evolved so much. So how have you seen the industry just shift, like, from all these changes and evolution?
there's I call it a lot of boomerang strategies going on right now, because to your point, you have to be online and you have to be digital, and yet newspapers still exists. So to me,
Yeah.
those now represent blue ocean strategies, for example.
Yeah.
So I do promote, direct mailers to establishments, whether a home or, or businesses, depending on who your ideal customers are. Um, so yeah, that shift to digital right now with everything, this entire AI kick that's going on right now, that's a whole other conversation, I'm sure. But one of my clients, she is all over it, right? Like, she literally will text me just messages like, "Hey, I just found this new AI site." Those things, I don't want to say they're fads. I think they're going to stick around for a very long
Yeah.
time. Digital AI, these things aren't going anywhere. But the shift that I think, business owners need to be aware of is, at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to people buying products from people. So you can be online,
Yep.
or you can be, you can use AI to craft your marketing messages or whatever. But when your customers, connect to the people within your business,
Yep.
can they be relatable? Are they going to solve problems, et cetera, right? So that's just a shift that's never going to happen. What I also do see shifting is, like, everybody on top of everybody is some kind of a coach nowadays. And I'm excited about it. I will say, for any small business owner, you got to check the credentials of any particular coach you may want to work with, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
business coach, a life coach, or anything else. So to that's a scary shift to me, because I know what I did to build up my credibility as a business coach, and I want to make sure I support coaches. I literally train coaches, but I also want to make sure that the population of coaches out there are holding a high standard to the work that's being done. And I don't always see that. So, to that side of the shift, I will just encourage everybody to be really clear on the credentials, the backgrounds, the experiences that any particular coach you may be considering. Just check the receipts, right? That's what the young kids say nowadays.
I know.
Uh, for those of us who grew up on MySpace, we got to keep up with the vernacular. But that's a scary shift. Is just anybody can call themselves a coach. So I do want, business owners to be very, very clear when you're considering working with a group or working with individuals. But again, I'm excited that people are building up the confidence to call themselves a coach, but understanding the responsibility. People are entrusting their lives, their businesses, et cetera, to your expertise. You got to come with it. You can't let them down. So that's it.
Bars, bars, bars. And that was part of my frustration with the marketing. I don't know. It just seemed like from 2015 to 2021, there was just like all these marketers, right? And this drip drip campaign stuff. And I'm just like, can I just talk to a human? That's why I have that feeling against marketing, because we're so people oriented. And being an industrial engineer, you're constantly looking at people's behaviors in systems and how they react with data and processes. And I'm just like, I don't understand why I can't talk to somebody. Like, what's happening? Like, I can't even, like, me, I have no problem picking up the phone and calling people. I will do that before I text and Slack message and all this other stuff that people do now. I mean, we have Slack as a company, but I will just pick up the phone. Like,
Well,
I just want to talk to somebody.
and the reason we're online now is I was fortunate enough to connect with Marcus, ask him how we got connected. I literally called him.
Yeah.
Because I have a list of business owners that I've built, because I know when I'm going through my efforts to pull people together, to your point, Jennifer, nothing beats the sound of another person's voice.
Yep.
So you can hear the authenticity, or, you know, you can really kind of hear what that person is trying to bring into your presence. So that is my preferred way also with anything I do. I just want to pick up the phone. I do realize, you know, the culture of the world, you know, makes it okay to just text people. I have clients who all they want to do is text. And I'm like, if it takes me a couple of days to get back to you, just know. But yeah, nothing's, you know, all this B2B. I'm a B2B professional. B2C is human to human at the end of the day. And that's why I'm not even worried about all the AI stuff. Like, at the end of the day, AI will never have the hopes and the dreams and the creativity of people. So yes, ma'am, I agree completely. And I think that's a message to any small business owners listening to this conversation. You know, your customers want to do business with people. So you'll never beat that.
Yep.
Bars. I'll say this time, bars. Another one.
Another one. So, as we wrap up here today, Jarvis, what are one to two things you've had to totally rewire QCC, right? You mentioned early on, like, it wasn't how you know intended in the beginning. You made some changes, which we all do as business owners. I mean, you learn new things, so you want to try it out, right? And you see what works and what doesn't work. And like you said, B2B, people to person, people to people, that's what we do, and that's not going to shift. So what are some other things you've had to totally rewire your business around?
Yeah, I'd say, you know, kind of what I shared in my story, starting off with a focus primarily around healthcare, because that was, you know, my background from my corporate career, and switching into just the general small business market. Trying to figure out how to craft my message so that I could attract the general market and not just my healthcare clients. So that was a pivot. It took me a few months to really understand the needs of, you know, your everyday small business owner. Now, once I did, I've been very fortunate to have successfully crafted a message that does appeal. But that was a pivot. I mean, I remember just kind of staying up late at night, you know, 2:00 in the morning. It's like, how do I say this differently? How do I, you know, position myself appropriately? So that was a big one. And I learned from that is just having natural cycles of strategic, you know, development in my business. So I do quarterly sprints, 90-day sprints in my business that I was already applying to my clients. Now I got to eat my own medicine, right?
Yep.
Apply it to my own business. So that's a big part. Do you guys do the 90-day sprints as well, Jennifer?
Well, we have we started implementing co-working days. So we meet up once a quarter, and we have, out of the 4 quarters, 2 times we have a midterm meeting, a strategic midterm and strategic annual, to do just that. It's like, okay, let's stop. Let's look at what worked, what didn't work, and how can we make this better, you know, in the future.
All right, perfect. No, so I'm just a solo provider, and I have virtual support. But I go 75 days hard, just, you know, working through my plan that I have for that quarter. And then those last 15 days is where I start going through my reflection and kind of redevelopment process. But now it puts me at a nice, easier pace for my own business development. And business development is one of the first things that I coach with my clients. Like, you got to have all your key business development processes in place. So then we'll build out processes for lead generation, for conversions, for, you know, how do you generate more transactions? Like, those are processes for sales and marketing. But that was the one big pivot. I'd say another big pivot, I think, was really owning my mindset around being a coach. So I spent so many years of my corporate life being a consultant. And consultants always have the answer. We just tell people what to do, and we lay out the game plan. And, you know, and it's so easy. It's boom, boom, boom. But now as a coach, you know, I'm coaching myself, and my coach is coaching me as well
You're invested.
right? But I'm asking more questions. I'm being more reflective, and there's a shift there for me personally. And I'm still constantly working to find the perfect balance, but yeah, to be more coach, and call myself a coach and own that title. I'm a really good coach. I'm an exceptional consultant, and now I'm working towards being an amazing coach on top of it.
Awesome. Bars again. Yay. No, I love it. I love everything you just mentioned, and it just made me reflect on I need to start. I'm in this period of my life now where I'm like, I feel like I'm finally stepping into the CEO role of the MJW group. Like,
Right.
it's taken 6 years to get here, but I finally feel like the business development, like you're mentioning, we invested in bringing on someone to do that because it was just me and Marcus for the most point. But now I can look at it from a different angle, right? And invest more of my time into doing that. So now, like you said, I have on my shirt today. Me and my mom went to Raising Cane's today. We went to Sam's Club today. We went to the gas station. Anybody can ask me, oh, what's the MJW group? Like you said, like you're always on. And even in the middle of the night, yeah, my mind never shuts off. I'm like, oh my God, let me write myself a note in Slack.
Yeah, I host a free mastermind for small business owners, and we did it yesterday, for example. And one young man asked that question. It was just, how do you balance it as a solopreneur? How do you balance life and business? And I tried to, at least from my opinion, my experience with that question, there's no such thing. There is no balance because you are the business. The business is you. So what I push for is integration. So I love that you have your shirt on. You see, I have my branded shirt on. But Jennifer, when I say this is literally all I wear,
yeah.
now I'll say really because I grew up. We're talking about MySpace now. I'll say Inspector Gadget, right?
Yeah.
The old school Inspector Gadget closet. He wore the same thing. He had a closet, and every outfit was the same. My closet is full of my branded shirts. It's a part of me. But it also just makes it really easy to get up and get dressed in the morning.
Yeah. Steve Jobs.
but yeah, just integrating the business, integrating life. My kids, I have a 9-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. They come and hang out with me in my office. This side of the office is their side of the office. My 9-year-old knows my lead generation process. So when he wants to play video games on the weekend, okay, you can play games, but you got to go build me a lead list first, right?
Oh, man,
right. That's integration, and he's happy to do it.
They're on the payroll.
Yeah, tax purpose, S-corp.
Yes,
let's talk about it.
That's a play. That is a play.
Yeah, later this month, I've been invited to Canada to conduct a workshop for a group based in Montreal. Yes, I'm happy to come, but my son is coming too, right? So I integrate as much as possible all of the business and all of, my life. And I have periods where I turn off the business and I just go watch cartoons with the kids, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about integration to the best of our abilities. That's allowed me to at least get this far without feeling like I'm letting somebody down. Either my kids are being let down, or my wife, or my business. So it's a work in progress, but that's been a mindset that's helped.
Bars again. So many nuggets. Oh my gosh. Jarvis just gave the audience like so many plays and nuggets. Like, of course, you guys can reach out to him.
Please.
To schedule some more time if you like to. So as we wrap up here, Jarvis, is there anything you would like to leave for the audience? Any tips, tricks? You've given a lot already, but didn't know if there's any links or sign up. People want to work with you further. How can they connect with you?
No, well, I just again have to say thank you both for a fun conversation, especially a fun conversation on a Friday. This is literally my last call for the day, so it's downtime. But this was fun, and I tell everybody I'm really a two-trick pony. I'm a really, really good business coach and business strategist. So if if you're stuck in your business, you need help, even if you're successful, you're just trying to take it to the next level. I always welcome a conversation, and I've already said I'm old school. So you're welcome to just call me directly. It's 404-737-1944. But outside of that, I'm a really good dad. So when I'm not working and, coming up with more strategies and publishing new books or anything, leading workshops, which again, I was fortunate that Marcus was able to join me in. When I'm not doing all that, I'm just hanging out with the kids. Tomorrow Sunday, we're doing a big day at the Georgia Aquarium, which is one of the biggest in the world, right? It's
I love the Georgia Aquarium.
It's a massive, massive place. But
I love that place.
that's my style. So guys, I appreciate the time and chance to meet and connect with you both. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. We'll make sure to get your information and number in the show notes. You got the OG ATL area code.
You do. I was at 404.
You don't have 678. He got 404.
Right.
So, Jarvis, thank you so much for being here with us today on the Analytical Rewired. Everyone, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we will catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.